Okay, so I was mimicking the, Dark Knight scene where it's the Batman interrogation. And I had this idea. I was looking at Heath Ledger and I can see in his face, or you can see in his face, like, um, the sort of like part of him that was the character and the part of him that was himself, you know? And like how it was starting to, the boundaries were starting to degrade. And I was like, I want to do a reading on it. Because, you know, I read a comment that was like, the most terrifying thing about Joker is that he has a point. And I think that got to Heath Ledger. Not that he saw that comment, but that truth kind of, I don't know. But, let's see. Oh, I want to see my peep plushies. I know y'all do. Okay. Okay. So I guess I should ask what kind of direction I should go in for this reading because I kind of just jumped right into it. So Four of Swords. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna go wherever it takes me. I think I'll just let myself overthink on this one because I tend to get a little bit like I shouldn't be overthinking on the readings. I have to get it as clear as I can, but maybe with his energy, like it would be different. So I'm feeling like this role. I feel like he immediately intuitively knew that it was a significant role for him, and I don't know, it just felt like, I don't know, he just really wanted to do it. He like was like, yeah. I think reading the script kind of sealed that for him because it feels like he's just never had a character that he's wanted to play that much before, is kind of the energy, or like that he was that excited to play or felt like would be as so cool to play. Then we have Ace of Wands reversed here. So I don't know, I think he knew. I think he kind of knew that it wasn't good for him in a way, that it wasn't like, not that he knew how bad it was gonna get, or I think he just recognized the traits of that character and how that would trigger his own mental state outside of his job. And I think he recognized how his own shadow attributes and the character's shadows attributes would have a sort of conflict, or no, it's not a conflict. Maybe they would synergize. I don't know. There's this. It's kind of both, but it's more like either way they would be bringing each other out more. So his shadow side got a little bit more like, I don't know. If it feels like he kind of spiraled in a way, like maybe his mental health had hit a peak before, but now it was like going down, like, and it would go up and down throughout his life, but for some reason this role, the things that were happening in his life plus this role and him being going down on towards the downward spiral, all jumbled up together, kind of like made it a really bad spiral, or a really bad depression episode. I don't know. I'm not really sure what mental health issues he was diagnosed with, but you know, it feels like he definitely had a lot of just anxiety, and he was, I don't know, it feels like specifically the energy I'm feeling around this time is that he was in a place, he wasn't in a good place. He wasn't in a good place, like, to be doing this role, whether it be mentally or emotionally. It was a complex number of things, but when it came down to it, he wasn't in a healthy, mentally healthy enough place to be playing that role, and he knew that to some degree. But why did he still want to continue, even though, like, why did he still want to clarify the Hierophant reversed? Why did he still want to take the role anyway? I feel like one of the things he liked about acting was that it would he could sort of channel his insecurities and his anxieties into it, with the Moon card here and with the King of Blades in reversed. It's like, because he was in a bad place in his life at that time, he sort of thought, like, oh, I can use this role to sort of channel, and I know I shouldn't, okay, I respect Heath Ledger a lot, and I know that he knows that professionally and as an actor, it's a bad idea to channel your own life into a character. I know he knows that, but it's like, maybe some of the things that Joker, like, that the Joker's character, like, talks about, as sort of his point of view, kind of aligned with Heath in a way that he wanted to get it out of him, and he didn't want somebody else to do it. He didn't want it to be somebody else saying it. He wanted to be the one to get that feeling out of him, to get that message out of himself. It's not even that he thought he could do it the right way or do it better than anyone else. It's just like it sort of resonated with him or rang true, like those words, the Joker's words, and he wanted to be the one to get that out of him, like, of himself. And so he took, yeah. And it's less like that he would channel his insecurity and his anxiety but into the character, but it's more like, as playing the character and giving his reality to that character's reality and sort of stabilizing it in that way and making it real, he felt it was easier to make that reality stable and feel secure in that reality in the character rather than in his own reality. He feels a little bit more insecure and unstable, but he feels like in his characters he can step into the vibe or step into the air of, like, confidence and assurance. And it's not even that he craved confidence and assurance, but it's like, he couldn't not be acting at that time because he did sort of kind of rely on acting to stabilize him. He relied on his job to sort of bring him that stability in life, and which is normal, but I think that at the time he thought it was going to be okay. He thought it was like, he never thought it was going to get that bad. Let me basically say this. He didn't do this as like he didn't take this role and all these things happen as like a self-harm or self-destructive thing, or he wasn't purposefully going towards a downward spiral. It just sort of like, because he did think he was going to be okay in the beginning, and it's not like he was trying to do something unhealthy like channel insecurities. I keep trying to re-speak on what it means, but I haven't quite got there yet. But I don't mean that he's trying to channel insecurities. And he doesn't, feel like he needs confidence, insurance, and reassurance within his reality to feel stable in life. Like, it's just, I don't know. At the time, he couldn't have not been acting because he felt stable whenever he was doing his job. He felt like he was good with life as long as he's doing his job. And I think he thought that it was going to help, actually, really, because he could get that out of him. He could get that message out that he really wanted to get out and was really like resonating with him. And also, it was a character that he really liked. He really liked stepping into, because I feel like the character just makes sense to him in a way where he can play it almost flawlessly, because it just flows out of him. And that's also another reason why he was so drawn to speaking the message of this character. And also he felt just reassured whenever he could like speak his message like that and feel like seen. And I don't know, I feel like what he's saying as the Joker, I'll get to that later. But as for why he took this role, yeah, with the Six of Pentacles here, yeah, he knew he was like, it was his shadow side, like, he knew maybe that like the message would like resonate a little too much with him, but he still thought he could keep balance with it. He has kept balance with his other characters before, and I don't think he ever imagined how synchronized he would become with that character, and how, I don't know, it's weird because it's like he didn't even mean for it to happen genuinely. He wasn't purposefully in his room trying to pretend to be the Joker again. He wasn't like going home and like starting fantasies and delusions. Like, he genuinely did not instigate this, but somehow like playing the Joker brought this side of him out of him that he felt like he could perfectly mirror. Like, he could perfectly mirror what exactly that character was trying to say. So that's why he took that role. Because he was like, I understand what this character is trying to say. And I can speak it literally exactly the same. I can embody that exact character, the exact message of the character, I guess you could say, because the character takes on different form, Different people have played the Joker, but the message of the Joker, or at least in that movie, Heath could really embody that and really mirror that. And that's why he felt he decided to do the role despite feeling the shadow side stuff, feeling like it might have been a little bit of a temptation, because it's like, after he did choose to do the role, you know, it's like this energy where he was kind of thinking about it and kind of like inspecting it, and it was like, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Like, maybe some of the stuff that's going on in my life right now isn't, you know, gonna align too well with this character's mindset. And it feels like he feels like at this point he doesn't have a choice, though. He's like, I've already chosen to do the character. I can't be like, my mental health is too bad, I can't play the character. Like, we've already filmed so many scenes, like, it would cost so much money, and I can't just use my mental health as an excuse to tank all of that money. You know, and he really just brought it down upon himself. Like, even having this regret and knowing that maybe he was a little bit in over in his head, or he couldn't, you know, put the energy into it that he needed to stay balanced, he still felt the responsibility to play the character, because, like, he still felt the temptation, you know, and he still wanted to play the character, and he also didn't want to cause other people a problem by not playing the character and by letting his mental health muck up other people's worlds. Like, he hated that. He hated when his problems would fuck up other people's worlds. He hated it so much. He would be like, I hate myself. No. But like, I feel like that's a part of himself he really didn't like, because he just didn't like, he doesn't like hurting other people just because from his own hurt. But yeah. He recognized a specific darkness or deceitfulness to this character's truth or this character's message, that aligned with his karma or shadow sides. Like, maybe a part of him believed in what the Joker was saying, and a part of him believed in the exact opposite. Like, a part of him knew that what the Joker's message was isn't completely true, or isn't the whole truth. It's only part of the truth. This is a really deep energy. Like, I feel like I'm just barely brushing the surface, and I can't even begin to tell what's going on underneath. Like, 8th house energy. But yeah, again, like, something about the Joker's shadow side and Heath Ledger's shadow side kind of mirror each other. And when Heath was channeling the Joker and was like speaking, or, you know, in the scenes, what he was saying is kind of, I don't know how to explain this, because it's, yeah, it's just like, it's something about the scenes and like starting to do the scenes and starting to step into the character that like made him be like, and he was already in a depressive episode, and he was just like, wait a minute, like, the world is actually fucked up like that. And, you know, like, he was looking outside of himself, looking outside of his own reflection. He was looking around in the world, and he was like, no, it's actually that fucked up. And I think that's what started, you know, what led up to his untimely death, you know. I really don't want to be disrespectful. And Heath Ledger, I love you. I know you're there beyond the veil. I feel like there's more to be said about this than what's just on the surface. And even though there's always a weird paradox in suicide. And part of him knew that the Joker's truth is only part of the truth and isn't the whole truth. And he shouldn't integrate that reality. He shouldn't let that message get too far deep into his soul and fuck with him too much. But at the same time, when he did, commit suicide, it kind of, he was in an energy where he felt complete. He knew he had let it get this bad. He knew that he had doubt within him that it wasn't actually the truth, that the Joker's message was like, and he knew that he was getting too caught up in the character and too caught up in his own mind and too muddied up. Even like leading up to this event, and I don't know, he was in a place in his life where he didn't have much fight against it, And I'm not saying he didn't try to, his battle with mental health was fucking ferocious, man. But at that point in his life, he was feeling really defeated, and it was so easy for him to let himself spiral into the character, if that makes sense. Like, he felt almost comforted by that. Like, he needed that at that point in his lifetime. And then when he got to the moment where he realized, oh shit, I'm about to like choose to kill myself, it was like he was fine with it. He was like, I don't see any other option beyond this, because I don't know. It's weird. He was sad about it, but it's almost as if he wanted to send a message. Because he never did get out of that character. It started to fuck with him, and then it spiraled and got worse. And leading up to the death, it never had stopped spiraling. It had still been snowballing all the way up to that moment. And still having that message of the Joker, that reality of the Joker inside his heart, he felt that his death was sending a similar message. That specifically his death being suicide. And it's like he knew it was wrong. He knew what kind of effect it would have on his fans, who also deal with mental health and depression and suicidal thoughts. But he was at a point with his mindset where he was looking around at the world and he was like, this ain't fucking it. And he was dead ass about that. I think he was at a point, whatever was happening in his life, where he was just done. He just didn't have any strength left within him. There was nothing left for him to give. And I feel like he knew that this was his moment of weakness. but he just couldn't pull himself back up off the ground. And it's weird because it's like a mixture of regret coming from him, but also satisfaction with like his shadow side being satisfied. Not his spiritual side, not his inner child, but his shadow side. And you know, that was his choice, you know? And if he made that choice, that was clearly for a reason. You know, we're all our own people. We all make our own choice in the end. But he kind of wanted to choose his shadow side. In a way, where he felt acceptance in the end. He felt just acceptance, nothing more. What other untold truths need to come to light about this? What else is being unspoken? What other untold truths need to come to light about this? I'm feeling like he also This may or may not be true. Like, honestly, if he had made another choice, I'm sure he would have gone on to do like tons of crazy shit. But I feel like at that point he thought that, you know, there was nothing else for him. He had already experienced everything he wanted to experience. And that might have just been the depression spiral talking of like, nope, I've done everything I can. I'm fed up with it all, you know. But it's more just like the energy of like, you know, I've made all this money. I've had all these relationships. I've had all this success and fame. And yet I'm still here, spiraling down into this character, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing how fucked up the world is, and I mean, what's the fucking point? What is the fucking point? It wasn't just the character, it was a mix of a lot of things, you know, but Did the people surrounding Heath, the people in his workplace, surrounding Heath in his workplace, have good intentions? Is there something like, no. Okay. So it wasn't necessarily that the people in the workplace were trying to egg on his mental health issues, or it's just, I think they didn't know how bad it was getting, because he was the type to not voice that kind of shit. He's like, I'm not making my problems other people's problem. Okay? I can deal with it on my own. And, you know, people just bought into the character so much. They were like, oh, this character is so immaculate, and I don't know why. Like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, bro. It's great. It's amazing. But it's like the more he would get into the character, the more his mind would continue to be muddied up. I don't know if that makes sense, but the more deeper into the spiral he would go in his mind. So the people in his workplace really weren't helping that much, whether they knew it or not. Most of them didn't. It's just like, even the people, and it's like the people who did realize he had mental health issues were just like, oh, it's a Hollywood actor, you know. Those Hollywood actors, man. He's just not taking it seriously. I feel like most of the time he kind of suffered alone because he just didn't want other people to have to suffer with him. He didn't want to have to make his own sufferings make other people suffer. He's just a really deeply complex person and a kind of sad person. Like someone who has a sad soul just naturally. And he had all this magic within him, all this power. And he could do whatever he wanted, and he felt drawn to this one thing. He just felt drawn to the Joker's character. Whatever it meant, you know? Is there anything else that needs to be said about this matter? I guess I'll ask, Heath from Beyond the Veil. Rest in peace, Heath. I hope you're resting in peace. But, may I ask if... May I ask first how you are doing? Ace of Blades reversed. The Fool. I guess you're not doing anything. I guess would you say if you could go back, would you do it again? Would you redo it? Ace of Goblets reversed. Two of Swords. The Hierophant. I think ultimately no, like it just came down to those two things, those two choices, and I feel like put in that situation again, I would just make the same choice. Oddly enough, even knowing what I know now, it's like I would still get stuck in that indecision, and it would ultimately bring me to the brink. I feel like it was part of it was the indecision within itself that brought him so far down the spiral of like, not the indecision, but the doubt, like the dissonance of like knowing that he wasn't actually that character, but feeling so aligned with it and playing into like the reality of the message of what that character meant. The further he got into his depression, feeling like everything was wrong with the world. Like, in terms of if it was his choice, I feel like it would just happen the same way. Although there's a strong energy of him being like, I wouldn't want this upon anyone else. Like, this is my own burden to bear. He's like, this doesn't mean y'all should go out and fucking kill yourselves. Like, he's really strongly like, this is my suffering, not your suffering. Like, I don't want my suffering to be other people's suffering. He's like, understand that if any of y'all were to be in that position, I would want you to make the different choice. But this was my choice, and I would make it again because that's just who I am. What is this Lover's card here for? Three of Cups. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and say that he's kind of like had had a crush on someone he was friends with, and a really strong one. um, just someone that they would both have a lot of fun together all the time. You know, like anytime they would be together, it'd just be fun, and they would, be so happy. Um, mm, and I'm feeling like I think that was a huge part of his choice to, for his death, because I feel like when he was looking up from his reflection, he was looking around in the world and he was seeing how fucked up everything is. He looked at that person that he loves, and that they're just friends. And the reason why they can only be friends, and just how fucked up the stuff that the person he loved had to go through. Like, there's someone that he loved and they had to go through some really fucked up stuff, and he knew about it. And I think that was a huge part of why he was being like, the world is so fucked up, like, it's so fucked up, and I can't even tell the person I love it's gonna be okay because we can't be together. I can't tell them that they don't have to suffer because they can't share that with me. It's not appropriate because we're just friends. And that was a big part of why he just felt defeated, and like he didn't have anything better for himself. Because even if he did live, they couldn't end together. But this is someone he really loved. Really a lot loved, and I feel like whoever this was saw straight through Heath throughout the whole Joker thing, throughout the whole depression spiral, and was trying to help him. It was just like, you're going too far into it, man. And Heath was like, I know. You have no idea. It's just like, honestly, whoever it was that Heath loved, I feel like they recognized why Heath made the choice that he did, and they weren't mad at Heath for it. They definitely were not mad at Heath for it. They were sad. Oh my god, they cried forever. They were like listening to love songs, being like, but I feel like they accepted Heath's death just the same that Heath had accepted it in the moment of his choice, because they both understood each other on a deep level, whether they knew it or not. And I feel like whoever it is that Heath loved saw why Heath made that choice and understood it and accepted it. So Heath, if you didn't know that, I mean, you probably do know that. You're dead. You can see everything. But truthfully, I don't know. I hope y'all are together beyond the veil. We're all together beyond the veil. Oh my god, so gay. So gay. But goddamn, that was emotional as fuck. I think maybe that's the one huge, like, regret, if any regret, Heath has about making that choice, or part of the huge indecision and doubt within himself about spiraling so bad into the depression to the point where he made that choice. Because, he still loved that person, but at the same time, it was all that stuff about they couldn't be together, and that person was going through so much fucked up stuff, and he couldn't help them through it the way he wanted to. He couldn't even help himself through his own depression. Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. Okay, any last words? The world in reverse. Guys, don't kill yourselves. Trust me. If I were to be channeling Heath's ghost right now, he would be like, do not kill yourself. Just don't do it. It's not going to make you satisfied. I know I said earlier in this reading that he felt satisfied at that moment, but that was only from his perspective of being so fucking depressed and going so fucking far down the spiral that he felt like he had no other choice. And I know that he said he would make that choice again, but that's only because he's the type of person that he would just get caught in the indecision spiral again. That's just his soul. That was just his lifetime. That was just his karma. And I feel like he wants to make the important distinction of that. That was his own karma, not y'all's karma, and he doesn't want y'all to think that y'all should kill yourselves or that y'all would find satisfaction out of killing yourselves in any way. Like, because the thing about suicide is it is a huge karma, and in your next life you're gonna have to pay a huge debt because of it. At least suicide by choice. Like, the actions you make have... everything needs to be balanced. So they have like a, not an opposite effect, but something has to balance it back out. I'm not talking about suicide where like you're just trying to get out of a situation, or you've been starving forever and you decide to kill yourself, or it's just like for you can't survive anymore and it's just like there's no other choice but to kill yourself. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like Heath had that doubt within himself. He knew he shouldn't be making that choice. He knew the effect it would have on other people, and he knew that it wasn't going to solve anything for himself besides him being dead. It wasn't going to solve anything. And that's not going to change when it comes to his next life. He's just going to have to start that karmic cycle over again. So if you kill yourself, you're going to have to start that karmic cycle over again in your next life until you like learn your lesson, until you can grow and move on. And the thing is with Heath is in that lifetime with him, he was at a point where there was no more he could grow or move on. That's how he felt. Is like he felt he had no more he could grow or move on in that lifetime. And that was his choice. But I'm serious, guys. Like, if you do have suicidal thoughts and stuff, and like you're battling with your mental health, you know, I feel you. Do not be afraid to seek help. Don't be afraid to talk to someone. Please don't take Heath's advice and be like, oh, I don't want to make my sufferings your sufferings. Like, he's a wonderful person and he had his own karma. He didn't know any better. But seriously, guys, like, do not be afraid to tell someone or just say whatever it is that's on your mind that's making you feel like everything's so fucked up. Because, you know, a part of what was wrong was Heath was snowballing and he had nowhere for that energy to go besides into the Joker. And, you know, he had no one to talk to about it. So, because he didn't want to talk to other people. I didn't want to make it other people's problem. So don't be like that. Don't be like, I don't want to make my problems other people's problems. Like, we all share our problems, bro. In the end, we all end up projecting onto each other whether we actually speak the truth of our problems or not. Like, in the end, we all have to get through this together. So, yeah, I love you, Heath Ledger. I'm sorry for what you had to go through, and I hope this truth brightens and clarifies your soul just a little bit more.